It's Sunday. Where else would I be? Morning. What's been going on? Well, not a lot for me personally. I've been bogged down in other things this week. In the day job, we've had some fairly important stuff going on, which has sort of rather taken up a huge amount of my time this week. The new sampler has been cleaned and polished and is now sitting by the door of the studio, waiting to go into a rack. I haven't put it into a rack yet because I'm still waiting for the USB card to turn up, so hopefully that should be here at some point this week. I'll then fit the USB card, put a USB cable in the back of it and rack it up and see what happens. I must admit I've been very restrained with the sampler this week. Otherwise normally I would have this thing plugged in, I would be pulling it to pieces by now, but with everything else that's been going on around me, I've decided it's probably just as easy to leave it there, wait for the USB and then crack on with it then. So 909 Day seems to be the sort of big topic going around at the moment. There seems to be lots of speculation about what's going on. Roland, in their marketing ways, are releasing videos that tell you absolutely nothing, apart from the fact it's going to be a global music day with product releases following the sun. It looks like there's going to be something in the drum space, definitely something in the drum space, and they keep dropping hints about you say you don't have room for a drum machine or a drum kit, so not a drum machine, drum kit. So I'm expecting something small, something compact, but we'll see. Obviously Serato have made an announcement, so we know there's something in that space for 909. Still not quite sure what it is. I haven't really touched on Boss products because Boss is normally aimed at the Boss are normally aimed at the sort of guitar player rather than the synth player, but there's going to be a number of products in that space as well. But one of the things that has been flown around this week, and I've seen more and more of it this week on various channels and commentators, is the fact that there's a 909 and a 303 device, or two devices to hint into those markets. The commentators themselves turn around and say Roland have been hinting at. Well, I'm not that close to Roland, so I couldn't comment on whether Roland have been hinting or whether they haven't been hinting. All I can tell you is what seems to be going on. The first thing I'd say about the 909 and the 303 thing is the pictures that have been doing the rounds on the internet, and various sites are picking these pictures up and saying, here is the 909, it's coming, it's coming. What I would say is those pictures have been going around for nearly a month now. So I sincerely doubt whether those pictures are the actual product. Okay, just given the way other things are leaking out from the Roland factory, if you like, it just doesn't seem like they are right. If they are going to release a device, it was probably be down one or two ways. The ARIA equipment obviously has the human interface to it, as in you can trigger the sound and you can modify the sound from the same device. The boutique equipment obviously is it's like a rack module where you can modify the sound, but you need to be able to trigger it from something else. So obviously with the boutique range they gave you the option of buying a keyboard. You could buy the keyboard and you could trigger it that way, or you can trigger it via MIDI. So in terms of what would I like, well, if they're going to issue a 303 or a 909 using their active circuitry modelling technology, personally I'd like to see an ARIA style release. However, that would probably cut straight across the TB3 and the TR8. I therefore suspect, and the TB3 and the TR8 obviously have sound banks in them from the legacy. Well, TB3 is a direct model. The TR8 has the 727, the 707, the 808, the 909 and the 606 now. So you know, would you really want to cut across a machine that has that versatility? Probably not. So I suspect it's going to be sort of something from a boutique type of arena, which probably means you need something else to trigger it. So you'll need a keyboard to actually trigger the sounds rather than the actual keyboard, the same style as the Aria. Anyway, we shall see what happens. My smart money says if it's going to be something, it's probably going to be boutique. And also, I'm not convinced that the pictures are really what they say to be. Okay. On the flip side, of course, you know, there's been rumours about the System 8 for a good few weeks now. And the initial photograph, which I said last week, I was pretty convinced was a fake. I am even more convinced it's a fake now, and the reason I say that is because during the week on one of the websites, it picked up this, which is from a retailer's catalogue. So obviously the retailers had to go to press to get things in the catalogue for when they release the stuff on the 9th. That is a System 8. Okay. That came out, and then on another site some more stock photographs came out, so that looks like the System 8, and then that's probably the photograph that was taken from just flipped. Okay, definitely looks the same to me. What do we know if this really is the System 8? Well, as far as I can tell, it's a System 1 on steroids. There's a low frequency filter, 2 oscillators, mixer, pitch mover, filters, amplification, effect unit, reverb on there. What there isn't is sort of the jog wheel that's on the System 1, so that's gone. It's 4 octaves, so it's full 4 octaves on here. So yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll see what actually happens. It's recorded as a plug-out synth, so I'm assuming that it's going to be a replacement for the System 1 or a complement to the System 1. So of course, all those like me who've bought the System 1, now you've got the dilemma of what is it going to do. I'd like to see it be a model for some of the legendary other synthesizers with more octaves on them. But we shall see. Anyway, that's the System 8. That's what it currently looks like. Okay. Anyway, while I was going through looking for other stuff, one of the other things I noticed was Korg, who have always had the Odyssey, the Arp Odyssey has always been a Korg. It's been a Korg product for a number of years now, which is a sort of keyboard. It's quite a big unit actually. I mean, it's about big and quite wide. So you know, you definitely need sort of quite a bit of rack space to actually put the damn thing in. But what I did notice on the web in several places now is that Korg, it would appear that Korg are releasing a modularized version of the Arp. So rather than having to buy it with a keyboard, you can just buy it with a module, which would be quite interesting, because what's always stopped me from buying an Arp, and I've always wanted one, it's on one of those keyboard wish lists, I just don't really have the space for it at the moment, is the size of it, just the sheer size of it. Many years ago I had, and I wish I still had, an early Yamaha CS unit, and it was a great unit, it really was a great unit. However, it was massive and incredibly heavy. So carting the damn thing around was not a joy. So I sold it, and now I look on the internet and how much these things are going for. I wish I hadn't. But you learn by your mistakes, don't you? You learn by your mistakes. moving on, and this is just another one of those sort of personal rants. I showed you this last week, which is my new digital interface, which I've now got loaded up on the computers. What I didn't realise is when I was looking at it last week is, I don't know whether you can see that, there you go, come to camera. Another manufacturer that started to put Kensington lock devices on, or Kensington lock slots on its device. I would say to any manufacturer, any of the main manufacturers, think about this seriously, because us musicians, when we're gigging, the worst thing in the world is to have some light-footed little git walk off with pieces of equipment. Now the ARIA stuff, Roland have put that in there, and I think on the boutique, if I remember correctly, on the boutique stuff they've also put in a Kensington lock, so you can actually lock it down to the tripod or the X-frame or wherever you're working, or desk, table leg. But you can actually lock the device down to that place when you actually set up your gig. But the ARIA stuff is easy enough that you could, some hermit could put it under their arm and just walk out of the venue with it, and you'd be none the wiser until you came to do the gig and found out that the piece of equipment you were just about to use wasn't there anymore. So again, on my rant of the on the road musician is, can we have more equipment please with one of these lock slots put into it? Other than that, I'm not going to say much more this morning. Don't really have much more to say. Probably have more to say next week when I get back into the full throes of doing stuff, which I haven't really been doing this week. Any questions, anything you'd like to see, drop me a line. I know I haven't been very responsive recently, but hopefully that's going to change now that pressure in the other day job is rescinded slightly, so we'll see where we go. Anyway, sayonara for now.